The past couple of weeks I've been in this creative drought. Ever since I got halfway through editing the How Your 20s Were a Waste video, it's almost like my creative energy and output has stalled. Sometimes that creative energy is at your fingertips and you can expend it and delegate it to wherever you wish. Other times you are in a drought for what feels like days or weeks just waiting for inspiration to strike. But I think I finally broke out of this creative drought I have been in for the past week or two, so let's talk about how I did it. Step 1, don't push through the pain.
This is going to be a little bit tougher depending on your situation and what you're working on exactly. Obviously, if you have a hard deadline for a client, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to be flexible. But at the very least, when everything lines up and all your T's are crossed and all your I's are dotted and you have the opportunity, don't be afraid to take a little bit of a step back and just be with your thoughts.
Forcing creativity is something that personally I don't really believe in. I feel like when creativity is forced, it leads to work to become rushed, sloppy, and not up to par. In comparison, just because you are laying in bed doesn't mean you are sleeping. Or just because you are working doesn't mean it is the most creative, productive work.
This is something I've gotten much better at as the years have gone on. When I was younger, when I was in grad school, and even my undergrad to a certain degree, I would just push through the pain. Oh my God. It didn't matter how much I didn't want to do something, I would just continue to push through it. And honestly, this led to A, me getting a little bit burnt out, and B, it led to the project or whatever I was working on to not come out as high of quality.
Step 2, review your content consumption.
When I get into one of these ruts, I feel extremely uninspired and I don't want to do anything. I don't want to film, I don't want to edit, I don't want to read. I literally just want to sit on the couch and stuff my face.
Content consumption is something that I've completely overlooked when I've gotten into these creative droughts. I know I've talked about this before on the channel, but I guess it never really hit me how quickly it can help you get out of a specific rut you're in. As I was in this drought, I sat down on the couch and I was watching a lot of Shark Tank, and the more I watched it, it almost made me feel worse about myself. I felt worse about where I was in life, what I was doing, the people I hang out with, literally everything. Then I did the obvious thing. I turned it off and I started watching something else.
As you guys know, I'm not really a big TV person. I'm not sure what put me down this Shark Tank rabbit hole. But seeing all these people with all these multi-million-dollar companies, all these accomplishments, it just made me not feel great. So what I did was, rather than continue to watch Shark Tank and continue to watch something that was bringing me down, I changed up the content I was consuming. I started watching more Sam Colder. I started watching more Sam Newton, these channels that inspire me to create.
And when I did this, amazingly, ideas started running through my head again. Visions for different videos started appearing from everywhere, all because I changed what was going in through my eyes and ears, allowing the distractions that were in my head to completely disappear. 3, change things up.
One of the issues I have is I have an extremely small apartment, which is completely fine, honestly, in my book, because I don't have a lot of things, because I simply just don't need a lot of things. The thought of moving to a bigger place does appeal to me, but the issue I have with that, and the problem that I can't wrap my head around, is that I'd be moving to a bigger place, paying close to 3 times more for extra space that I probably would not use. Anyway, back on track here. The point is, it's hard for me to move around and work from different spots.
If you are someone who is in one of these droughts or just feeling a lot of resistance, move seats. I spend the majority of my time working at a computer, but after working 8 hours during my normal day job, as well as another 4 to 6 hours working on other things from the same exact spot, it can get old. Moving seats and changing environments have proven to be one of the triggers of novelty to help you get into that flow state.
I used to do this a lot in college. Rather than do homework at my house on the weekends, a lot of the times I would go to the library and work there. And when that became a little bit too monotonous for me, I would go to a coffee shop, then a different coffee shop, then back to the library. You may not realize it, but by doing this, you're almost getting a second wind. And even if you don't have access to a library or you can't leave your house or whatever the case may be, you could get the same flow effects simply by changing seats at your kitchen table.
Even if you aren't creating YouTube videos, continue to change things up, take a different route to work one day, stop at a different coffee shop, stop and go for a walk in the park rather than just staying home. Allow that novelty to enter your mind so you can be creative. 4, get back to your passion.
So I took a little bit of time off from everything YouTube related. I took some time to relax and really think, and I evaluated everything we've talked about in this video so far. But eventually, and I realized this very early on in this break I took, you need to get back to your passion.
What I have found is that it might be a little difficult to get back to work after taking a little bit of time off. That initial resistance is like the Great Wall of China. But I've also found once you begin, once you start, it's a complete domino effect and you are back in more energized than ever.
When I sat down to plan this video, although I was feeling inspired, there was still a thought in the back of my head that I could just procrastinate on this video and just put it off another day. And then I decided, you know what, let me just start planning out this video. Let me just start. And before you know it, the video was completely planned and done.
So next time you feel like you are drowning in resistance, think to yourself, when was the last time I gave myself a break? What content have I been consuming lately and how is it making me feel? Let me try going somewhere else to tackle my important work today. And when you do take a step back, make sure you don't lose sight and you get back on track to killing your passion, because passion is everything.